Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome my dear students of the third year secondary Tabuk model schools. I hope you all the best and all success this year. This is the last video in Flying High 6 Unit 5. Listen to part 2 grammar. We are still with models and a new function, models of deduction and possibility. As usual, what are the aims of today's lesson? What are the goals? Number one, by the end of this lesson, students are supposed to, number one, know how to use models of deduction. Number two, know how to use models of possibility. Let's start our lesson, dear students. We have to remember something. What do we call the following verbs? Must, can, may, might, and could. What do we call them? Good. Models. Okay. The second question. How many uses of models are we going to talk about today? Good. From the title, deduction and possibility. Good. Let's start with deduction. Look at these examples to know when and how to use models in this way. And we mean by this way to express deduction. The first example, he must be good at English. Here we have must be, must plus infinitive. He must be good at English because he gets high marks. There is a second part, because he gets high marks. We usually call the second part of the sentence as an evidence. He must be good at English. How do you know? Because he gets high marks. So this is an evidence that he must be good at English or fluent at English. Here I am 90% sure or certain that something is true. So when we are near certain or when we are near sure, in the present we mean 90% affirmative that something is true. We use must plus infinitive. The second example, I must have lost my keys because I can't find them. Here we must have plus verb 3. This is in the past. Good. And the second part is because I can't find them. I must have lost my keys. Why? Because I can't find them. Again, when we are near certain that something happened in the past, 90% affirmative, we use must have plus verb 3. We call it deduction, affirmative deduction in the past. Number 3, he can't be good at English. Why? Because he always fails in it or in exams. Here we have can't be, and can't be here is the negative of must be in the first example. In the first example must be, and here can't be, this is in the negative. So when we are near certain or near sure that something is not true in the present, we use can't plus infinitive. The last example, I can't have lost. Again, we have can't have plus verb 3. My keys because my brother told me they were at home. Again, we have here in the second part, we have an evidence that something did not happen. So, when we are near certain or near sure that something did not happen in the past, we are 90% sure that something did not happen, we use can't have plus verb 3. So here we have must plus infinitive in the positive or in the affirmative, and can't be, this is the negative form, and we have must have plus verb 3 in the past, in the affirmative past, and the negative can't have plus verb 3. This can be summarized in the following table. Look at the column on the left, the model, and on the right the use and some key words. Must plus infinitive when we are 90% near certain or near sure that something is true. We call this kind of deduction as affirmative deduction in the present. The second, must have plus verb 3. This is the past of must plus infinitive. We use it when we are 90% near sure or near certain that something was true. Affirmative deduction in the past. Number 3, can't plus infinitive. This is the negative form of must plus infinitive. When do we use can't plus infinitive? When we are 90% near sure or near certain that something is not true. We call it negative deduction in the present. The last one, can't have plus verb 3. This is the negative form of must have plus verb 3. When do we use this form? When we are 90% near certain or near sure that something was not true, and we call it negative deduction in the past. Negative deduction in the past. The second function of models, the first function was deduction, or the first use was deduction. Now we move to the second function of models, which is possibility. Again, look at these examples to know when and how to use models in this way to express possibility. The first example, she may be or might be or could be good at English, but I don't really know. Maybe, might be, or could be. Number 2, she may not be or might not be good at English, but I don't really know. Number 3, she may have, might have, or could have passed her exams. It's possible. I am not sure. I am not certain. I don't really know. Number 4, she may not have passed or she might not have passed her exams. It's possible. In fact, I am not sure. I am not certain. I don't know. I don't really know. It's probable. All these are keywords. We notice in the first example, we have maybe, might be, or could be. And the negative here is in the second example, may not be, might not be, but we do not have could not be, as we will see now. In the third example, and example number 1 and number 2, example number 1 and number 2 express the present. But example number 3, or sentence number 3, we have may have, might have, could have, passed, plus verb 3. This is in the past. Affirmative in the past. Number 4, may not have passed, might not have passed. Negative in the past, or past negative. What do we infer from these sentences, from these examples? We can deduce the following rule. Look at this table. Again, on the left model, on the left column we have the model, and on the second column or the right column we have the use and keywords. Number 1, may or may not, might, number 2, or might not, could, but we don't have could not. So may or may not, might or might not, and could plus infinitive. When do we use these 3 models? Uncertain, unsure. When we are uncertain, unsure, it's possible, probable, that something is true in the affirmative or not true in the negative. We call this possibility affirmative or negative. Affirmative possibility and negative possibility in the present. In fact, we are 50% sure. 50%. Okay. Number 2, may not have plus verb 3 or may have plus verb 3, might not have plus verb 3 or might have plus verb 3. Number 3, could have plus verb 3, and again we do not have couldn't have plus verb 3. Okay, when we are not sure or unsure, not certain or uncertain, when we are it's possible, something is possible, probably that something was true or was not true. You call it a possibility, affirmative or negative. Affirmative possibility or negative possibility in the past. Again, we are sure, but 50%. 50%. Note, could is not used in negative possibility, whether in the past or in the present. So we cannot say he could not have taken it. I am not sure. But we can replace it with he may not have taken it, might not have taken it. Both are correct, but we cannot say he couldn't have taken it. I am not sure. This is the end of Unit 5. Till we meet, best of luck.